Hello and welcome back to Operation Vimy Ridge. It's the spring, no, it's the summer, sorry, of 1918, and the war is just about over. So, we lost 7 IPP to rating and left us 45. So, we are buying 3 TBDs for 18, 6 Colonial for 12, 4 Infantry for 12 more, and Lend-Lease in the French and Infantry for 3. So that's our 45 IPP. We have a free one for the Netherlands, but we have 2 housekeeping items to start with. The first one is the U.S. forgot to put the mine back in P34, so they got a roll for that. So the dice are labeled USA and Japan. The modifier is 0. And a 4 and a 2, so that will be $2 damage to the Japanese line. So we'll add that to the Japanese. So the Japanese will be ready for a total of 3. Not great, but not bad. And then Southern Persia, that attack, the commander was not effective when the battle started. So the hit by the mountain infantry in round 1 was null and void, which means I have 2 colonials at 2 for round 2 and round 3 to get to fire yet. And I retain Southern Persia. And that's a 6 and a 4. So they both miss. So nothing there except I kept the whole of Southern Persia. So they will go down 1 IPP, the Aldermans, from what they collected. Okay. Tech. I believe that's all my red chips, which are just my errors. Oh, the other thing, and I don't know what happened here. I thought the railgun for Paris or from France survived 2 attacks ago because and after round 1 he should retreat. So he didn't fire in the battle. I don't know if he was supposed to, but I think he was supposed to be retreated to Paris right now. So I have him there. If I somehow lost him somewhere and I just missed it, let me know, guys. But by all my math, he was never taken, and I believe he has to be taken last or whatever. So he should be back in Paris right now, so we'll figure that out then, though. So for tech, we only got 2 turns max left. It's depth charge, the hydrophones is blue, and convoy systems is gray, and of course the Dutch will be red. Okay, so we get an 8 and a 6. So I think one of them missed. And then 8 for the Dutch. I do, that's for sure a miss. So gray. Oh, gray is 6. We got them both. So depth charge and hydrophones goes to stage 2. And we complete convoy systems. A little late, but better late than never. So then our attacks. We're going to bring 6 infantry onto the transports. Fight the subs for 1 turn. Drop them off in Central Persia. And then go back and port in Kuwait. I think that's legal. Based on how we've been doing things, you got to run the subs for 1 turn, and it's in the same sea zone, so we're going to give it a shot. Attrition attacks in the northern Iraq and into Palestine, and I believe that's it. There's not a lot to do as the British, so let's start by trying to the 2 subs at 3. That's a 4 and an 8, so they both miss. So the 6 colonials. Yeah, the 6 colonials will be in southern Persia now. And the transports will go back into port into southern Iraq. Or into Kuwait, sorry. Into Kuwait. We have 1 artillery. We have 1 artillery into northern Iraq. That misses, and he has 2 in his counter battery. They both miss. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 into Palestine. They all miss. And he has 4 in return. And so far they all missed. We got 1 guy to make up his mind yet. And he misses. Okay. So I think that's all the attacks. So then, non-combat. Okay, the 3 colonial from Maharashtra are walking into southern Persia. The guy from New Delhi is walking into Maharashtra, southern India to Maharashtra, Benares to New Delhi, Calcutta to southern India. One of the Gurkhas from Bengal is going to rail to southern Persia. We are going to walk 1 infantry from Burma into Siam, and 1 infantry from Burma into Anatomkin. And we're going to walk the other Gurkha and colonial from Bengal into Burma. Oops. Check out this dude. Where was he supposed to be? He was probably supposed to be up here, but I don't know. I got a blue guy floating in the ocean. We'll figure out where he goes later. Okay, then the colonial in Eastern Belgian Congo is going to take the river rail to French Equatorial Africa. The colonial in Apagawe Chari is going to Cameroon. The 2 Dreads and the 2 subs are going down from A27 to A44. And the Dread, Cruiser, and TBD in A22 are going to join the rest of the fleet in A23. And I believe we're going to slide the TBD from A11 back to A23. And we're going to put the seaplane... No, he's going to stay there. We're going to leave him there. Okay. I don't see any more green arrows. I think that's it for the British. So, we're going to place... No, we do have one more. I'm sorry. No, we're going to leave it like that, I think. We're going to place 1 in Benares, 1 in Calcutta, 1 in Eastern Belgian Congo, and 3 in Maharashtra. Everything is garrisoned. Everything is looking good. Yeah. The French infantry is going to go over here to Normandy. The French are basically done. The 3 TBDs will join the fleet in A23. And the infantry, 1 will go to... No, they're all going to go up north. It doesn't really matter at this point. 1 into... 3 into London and 1 into British Midlands. Okay. I believe that's it for the British. So the British are at 42. And then wartime income. That's all they have. 42 in wartime income. And that's 6. So that's 48. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 48. A little lower than we have been. We've been rolling pretty decent wartime so far, but it's not to be anymore. Okay, then for the whites. The militia in Irkutsk is going to attack the trench fighter in Yakutsk. The militia in Cheetah is going to attack the trench fighter in Amur. The guy in Stalio is going to walk into Yenzi. No. Chewbacca won something. And then the 2 infantry and cavalry in Ural is going to go into Orenburg here and attack those 3 units they have there, which is a cavalry, an infantry, and a Cossack. Okay, so let's start up with, we'll do up here, we got militia versus a trench fighter. So I'm at a 1, he's at a 2. So I'm white, he's red. Round 1. And I hit. Okay, so that guy dies. That was nice. So trench fighter is gone. We need a Russian. Okay. Now Amur. Let's see if we can do the same thing. I'm white at 1, he is red at 2. Round 1. Okay, we both missed on round 1. Round 2. A 4, and I get a 1 again. Nice! Way to go, militia. So we take out another trench fighter. And these guys are in home country, which is why they can attack. Okay. That was a walk-on. And now over here, we have 2 infantry boosted with the commander and a cavalry. So we will have 2 at 3. They are yellow. And 1 at 4 is blue. And he has a cavalry at 2, which is red. And an infantry and a Cossack are both at 4, so this is blue. So we're going this, just trying to do some damage to him, but we'll see what happens here. So, okay. Round 1. Well, that's 2 hits so far. The other one went in the dice tray. Okay, so I get 2 hits. And the 3rd misses. His rebuttal. He gets a hit with the cavalry, but the other 2 miss, so he will lose 2. I'm assuming he's going to lose the cavalry and the Cossack, or the infantry, so he'll have a Cossack left, and I will lose 1 of my infantry. So I have an infantry at 3 and a cavalry at 4 left for round 2. Okay, the infantry misses, and okay, double misses. He's got 1 at 4. Okay, he hits. So I will lose the infantry. It's a little dangerous, but I'll lose the infantry. So we both have 1 at 4 remaining. And I get my hit. And he gets his hit. So we both hit. Okay, so we both wipe each other out. Which I guess is good and bad. So then the commander has to go back to Ural because nothing took it. But all these guys are dead. Okay, I guess I can live with that. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We need a 10 or less for recruitment. That is a 5. So we will add 2 more militia to the board. So we're going to add 1 to Ural. And we're going to add the other one up here to Stalio. So that means this guy here now becomes open again. That one's British controlled. That one's British controlled. Cheetah is now open also. Okay. And that one's British controlled. Is that how we want to do that? Yeah, I think we'll leave it like that. Okay. So for the White Russians, we have a militia in Amur, a militia in Yakutsk. Chita is now Soviet again. A infantry in Baruti. Irkutsk is now Soviet again. 2 infantry, cavalry, and militia in Angara. Vanafar and Santonis have a militia each. Yenzi has an infantry. Orenburg is now empty. Ural has a militia with the commander. And that's not my stuff. So the only changes for you, Dawson, was you lost your 3 units in Orenburg and you lost your 2 trench fighters out here in the west. For the British, we have a seaplane on map in A11. The Navy is an A23. Consists of a Dread, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cruisers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 TBDs, 2 subs, an effective commander, and the French pre-Dread. There are 4 transports in port in London. Scotland has an infantry and militia. Northern England has 2 militia. British Midlands, 2 infantry, a militia, and a seaplane. London, 4 infantry, a trench fighter, and an ineffective commander. There's a mine in A23 and in A22. Seaplane state is still on map on A27. A44 has 2 dreads, 2 subs, and 3 TBDs. Seaplane and patrol blimp still in M2. No changes in Eastern Egypt. There's a colonial in Cameroon, a colonial in French Equatorial Africa. No other changes there. In northern Persia, now there are 6, 7, 8, 9 colonial. I screwed up. One of the colonial I placed in Maharashtra was supposed to go to southern Persia. My apologies, guys. So only 2 go to Maharashtra and 1 goes to southern Persia. So there are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 colonials and 2 Gurkhas in southern Persia. Maharashtra has 4 colonials. New Delhi, Benares, Calcutta, and southern India have 1 each. Bengal is empty. Burma has a colonial and a Gurkha. And Tonkin has a militia, and Siam has a colonials. I believe that is it. And we will pass it off to the Austro-Hungarians for their turn. And then we will see you back for the French demise here shortly. Any questions, guys? Please ask. Oh, we did take $2 rating from the Japanese by the U.S. for the mine they forgot to roll. And there was nothing taken from southern Persia for that little mess up. We'll catch you guys next year. See ya.